This is Prince Magnum coming to you again from my apartment in Washington. I've yet to post all the videos that I've been working so diligently on, but today I'm going to do something a little bit different. This video is really for my fellow alcoholics and addicts out there. I know last night I was whacked out on 6 tons of caffeine. I drank about a pot of coffee last night, and I was sitting there, you know. Today is August the 6th. Tomorrow is being August the 7th. Tomorrow is my birthday. I'll be 35 tomorrow. But what's interesting is that not only am I turning 35, but my sobriety birthday, February 7th, 2006, is actually 6 months to the day from my belly button birthday, for those of my fellow alcoholics and addicts who know exactly what I'm talking about. Besides doing the video that I did last night, where I talked about my entry into Alcoholics Anonymous and how I, started getting the program, tomorrow will be 8.5 years since it all started. I've been doing a lot of reminiscing, a lot about things that has happened to me over the course of 8.5 years. I mean, some of it's just phenomenal. I couldn't say anything, bad about those experiences. I mean, some of those experiences I'll carry with me for the rest of my days, and some of them haven't been so good. But if you're just starting out in sobriety, I mean, when you come into the program, what you come in as is not what you're going to end up with if you stick around long enough and you get some time behind you. What you usually end up becoming is something totally different than what you intended, and for me, when I started in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, as I said in my previous video, during my introduction to the program, I was a very, very violent alcoholic. I was mean, hateful, and I was violent. I was very violent. I once had a friend say that I was so mean you could pour boiling water down my throat and I'd urinate ice cubes. I didn't quite say it so nicely, but in case you got children in the room, I try to avoid cussing, and there might be ladies watching, and I don't believe in cussing in front of ladies. As much as possible, you have to avoid cussing in front of a lady. It's not proper. But anyhow, and the thing of it is that I think every alcoholic or addict who works the 12 steps, I think it's safe to say that any one of us can talk about the first step and the 12th step if you work all 12. We can always talk, and we could talk about either one of those two steps all day long, and I think that's safe to say that anyone who's worked the 12 steps, we could talk about the first step and we could talk about the 12th step, but I believe wholeheartedly that the 10 steps in between those two, every alcoholic or addict can talk about one of those steps. It's almost like they're a pro at it. And for me, that one step that I know so well and very comfortable with is the third step. And when I got to the third step, and I was reading it in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and for those who don't know, in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, the third step is on page 60 to 63, and it for me, when I was reading those pages, for me, it was like taking a look at myself for the first time, long before I got to the fourth step. And for me, it talked about how we're selfish and self-centered and self-seeking and driven by 100 forms of fear, and all those sort of things. I didn't want to be that guy anymore. I didn't want to be that guy anymore. And for me, I was sick and tired of living that way. And so I wanted something different. So when I did that third step prayer, it really blew me away. I really felt the presence of my higher power, the God of my understanding, really come into my life. Now, real quick, because I am talking Alcoholics Anonymous, I avoid talking about religion. But real briefly, I am not Christian, and not to offend any Christian viewers out there, especially if you're alcoholic or addict. But that's just one of the benefits of Alcoholics Anonymous, the higher power of your own understanding, the God of your own understanding. And I think that just it's safe to say that, you can choose any higher power you want and stay sober. Obviously, that's so with me because, tomorrow is 8.5 years that I started this journey. And, what I initially thought about my higher power is totally different than what I think about my higher power today. My higher power, the God of my understanding, which I choose to call God, especially in a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, I love very much. My higher power loves me, and we have a wonderful relationship. But the thing I want everyone to know is my higher power is mysterious. I still don't understand my higher power. It's the higher power of my understanding that I don't understand, as an old timer once said in a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous some years ago. I think when I heard that for the first time, I think I was about 3 months sober. So, just little things that I hang on to all these years. But I want everyone to know that if you are an alcoholic or an addict, eventually I'm going to crack into the Big Book and talk about some different areas of the Big Book and maybe even the 12 and 12. Some different things that I picked up, certain things that it basically I'll take some passages and kind of give my thoughts and my feelings on that particular passage, what I've learned from that particular passage, and why it's so special to me. And of course, my one big hope of this is not to be some legendary AA member. As a matter of fact, that's one of the many reasons why I will only use my name Prince Magnum. I won't be using my real name, and that's one of the reasons why I'm wearing the glasses. Is because this is, you know, press, radio, and film. I'm trying my best to stick to the traditions on this one. Eventually, the sunglasses will go away. My wife is actually wanting to make me more of a masquerade mask for this particular purpose, because I really want to stick with the traditions on this. And the other reason why I think I need to wear because I'm going to be talking about, eventually I will be talking about some other subjects that are probably going to make some people mad, and I really don't want people knowing what I look like at that point, because they're going to be really angry with me. And it's kind of I'm not so much worried about myself, but it's about protecting my family. We don't do this sort of thing to hurt other people, to put our loved ones in danger. We have to protect ourselves. And, Alcoholics Anonymous today for me, it means so much more than what it used to mean. Briefly, I want to talk about a particular story, and then I'll go ahead and end it. And if you've been watching any of my videos, you'll note that I use the line, "If nobody's told you that they love you, Prince Magnum does." That line actually came from an old timer. I was a little over 6 months sober, almost 7 months sober actually, and my first sponsor, Sober Man, him and I were over at his place, and we were talking about this old timer named Floyd, good old Floyd. And where I got sober, this man was really inspirational, and absolutely a fantastic gentleman. Inspired a lot of people, changed a lot of lives, and just really a great man. And he always had this one line. He would always say, whether he shared or not, if they came around to him to share, and if he didn't want to talk or whatever, or maybe there just wasn't enough time, he would always say, "If nobody's told you that they love you, old Floyd does. God bless you and have a happy 24." Well, when Sober Man told me about this, I was like, "Wow, man, that's really how I feel about the program. Do you think old Floyd would mind if I used that?" And he said, "No, I don't think he would mind at all." And I started using that line. It took me a little bit to get used to, probably about 4 or 5 meetings to get used to saying it, and then it just kind of became my trademark. Of course, in meetings, I use my real first name. I don't use the name Prince Magnum, but like I said, this is to protect my anonymity, which I really, it's not so much to protect my anonymity, really, honestly and truthfully. More than anything, it's trying to stick with the traditions. But I think that at some rate, I probably do need to protect my anonymity a little, even though when I was as anonymous as a $1 bill when I got in the program. But that's how that line got started. And Soberman and I were actually getting ready to go see old Floyd, and I wanted to tell him that I was using his old line and to tell him that it was still going. But just before we actually made the trip to see old Floyd, he passed away. He passed away, and he passed away sober with something like 30 years of continuous sobriety. And he's greatly missed. I wished I'd had the opportunity to meet him, but you know, that's just one of those. That's one of those things. We should have done that trip a lot sooner. I should have really insisted that we go, but we, you know, like a knucklehead, I didn't, and unfortunately, I missed my opportunity to meet such a great man. But that's how that got started, and in a way, I feel like I'm carrying on his legacy. But at the same time, it's part of my legacy. Uh, Soberman and I were actually just talking before I started making this video, and I think it's safe to say because of how many, because of how many times I've said it over the years, you know, starting 8 years ago, saying that line, well, almost 8 years ago, saying that line, and how many people it's actually touched, it is probably going to be written on my tombstone if nobody's told you that they love you, you know. But it has, you know, that line means a lot to me. I feel that way about everybody actually in this world. I do love everybody, and I want everyone to have a nice day, you know. And really, that's all we're given is today. That's all we're really given is just this 24 hours. So that's why I say it, you know. And maybe you're not to that point where you can love everybody, or maybe you're maybe, you know, maybe it's even safe to say you haven't learned to love yourself. But I hope anybody who views this video finds a little peace, hope, and comfort in the fact that I do love you all. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're an alcoholic. I don't care if you're an addict. I don't care if you're an everyday normal Joe Blow, or I don't care if you're just a bozo or a bozette, you know, a female bozo. As my old friend, one of the old timers back where I got sober used to say that. But you know, I don't care who you are. You know, any of the videos that I make, I hope, if above all, you know, if you're sitting in that dark spot in your own world, in your own mind, or wherever you're at, maybe you're in prison, or maybe in a prison in your own mind. I don't care where you're at or what's going on. There is someone out there that does love you. There is a human being that you can reach out and touch. And I hope if one of these videos, especially the ones about sobriety, reaches you in that dark place and pulls you out of that hole, just knowing that someone out there loves you. I hope I meet you one day. I hope I meet many of you who view this, any of my stuff that I put out there. I hope I meet many of you. And I hope to be able to shake your hand, give you a hug, and tell you in person that I love you. That's really how I feel about my sobriety today. And with that, if nobody's told you that they love you, Prince Magnum does. And God bless you and have a happy 24. Thank you.